Hello, everyone. Welcome to Faith and Justice Podcast. I am your man, Dr. L.
And I am Dr. B by the grace of God, and I'm on the great podcast of Dr. L.
All right, man. They keep
Until we
saying it.
start making more money,
And,
and then
oh
I'll
no,
claim
no,
my
no! You don't put it out a bunch of different videos, man. You take me to court. I'm like, show him. He said it was mine all the time.
60-40, sir. 60-40. I'll take it.
Yeah, man. I was gonna ask you how's everything going, man. We talked a little bit before, man. Everything's been
A lot
kind of
going
crazy.
on,
Yeah.
between my personal life and my professional life, but God is good, man. God spared the life of my son. Uh, my stepson. So thank God for him and his fiance and my granddog. And then, uh, yeah, I have a granddog, man. Yeah, um, my kids have not given me grandchildren, so I have granddogs. Or it is what it is, man. It is what it is. So, and then of
Yo,
course,
that's a growing phenomenon about people not having kids, man, and
yes,
people
sir.
calling kids grand dogs and this is your daughter here and all kind of crazy foolishness. I think it's nothing but foolishness, quite honestly.
I agree. But at my age, people say you're having grandchildren. I got tired of saying no. I said, "Oh yeah, I got one. Got four legs, but I got one." But
All
yeah,
right,
it's definitely a phenomenon among the kids who are in their 30s right now. That's the last thing on their minds, about having kids. So
have you talked to any about that? Why they're deciding to hold off?
I think they're just they're so into their career. And again, I shouldn't take the blame, but I take blame because I only show them a workaholic. I only show them
Mm.
being a workaholic. I didn't really show them family time. And so why am I surprised that they're in this mindset? You know, and and even though Father's Day has passed, I think fathers we have to, be the Monday morning quarterback and say, what did I teach my kids? And make sure that even if they go on the path that you don't like, let them hear that, hey, daddy wasn't his best and I could have done things better. And that's my thing is that, no time soon, Lord, but, when I pass on, I just want to make it sure that, I did the best I could and also repented when I needed to as well.
Um, yes, I definitely can see and agree with that. And I watched a video not long ago. Everybody's got these videos. Most of them are AI, which I hate. But it was I watched it. It was pretty good. It was talking about guys who are I want to say over 35, maybe something like that. Their personalities. Maybe it was 40. I can't remember. 40, 50. I can't remember. And they were talking about their personalities, and they were saying, the type of people who don't like to celebrate their birthdays um, are very reflective in nature. They want to sit back and do exactly what you mentioned. That they want to think about the mistakes that they made, their career path. Think just sit back and reflect. Here's another year. What did I get accomplished? What do I want to do for the next year coming up? So flying all over the place and big parties and all this type of stuff doesn't really impress them. What impresses them is just trying to become a better person. So I thought that, and that's me. I mean, I don't like to make big deals about things. My kids are always, I said to them the other day, it's only 2 times a year that daddy don't got to go in his pocket to pay for things, and this is one of those times. So I'm done for all the rest of 2026. I got to go in my pocket to pay for things. But I am a very reflective type of person. I want to sit back, think about what I did right, what I did wrong, what moves to make for the next year. Where am I going? Where I've been, where am I going? And obviously where I'm at right now. So I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that.
Yeah, as men, especially black men, what is my legacy? And usually, if I'm only thinking about me, then that's a very selfish legacy. If I'm thinking
Mm,
about how I helped my family and those outside my family, to me, that's legacy. Why is it that people are still talking about certain people? Because the legacy they left, whether good or bad. And, my job is, what, let me do the best I can first privately and then publicly, because I don't want to be one of those people that, have a funeral and then at the funeral, here comes all the secrets and the scandals that you try to hold down because you don't want no one to know who you really were. And, as a man, it's ownership, right? Ownership says that I'm not just going to own my car, my plane, my money, X, Y, and Z. I'm also going to own my mistakes. And a
Mm,
lot of men do not know how to own, what did you bring to the table? If a divorced man is always talking about what his ex-wife did, problems with me. I mean, absolute, because you're not taking any ownership. And you call yourself the leader, but it was all your wife's fault? Nah, you're not taking ownership. That's how I look at it.
mm. Um, there's a few things that I wanted to kind of talk about. You did send me something. I don't know if we have enough time to really dig into it. Do you want to cover that next time? Because you sent me
We
something
can we can
that was
start
very heavy.
because yeah,
Okay.
I am really finding out that Ulysses S. Grant, the 18th president, was really the civil rights president, even more so than Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln may have set the slaves free with Emancipation Proclamation, but we taught this right in our very beginning that Reconstruction was such a pivotal moment in this country's history. I did not know that U.S. Grant had a bill where he almost destroyed the KKK. I had clueless. There were legislation that he passed. He got a person named General Merrill to really stamp out the KKK, and to a certain extent, they did. It was when he lost the election of 1876, which we talked about, is when the KKK came back, and they came back with a vengeance.
Mm,
But he did a lot. Also, U.S. Grant, he was a West Point cadet. He was a part of the Mexican, Spanish, the American and Mexican War. He didn't do well. He became a drunk for a while, lost his position, had to go back to work, had a slave, and because his father was an abolitionist, which I did not know, he set that black man free. So, and I'm saying to myself, why is it that I don't know about this? And I don't call myself a historian, but I kind of like know my Black history, because a lot of the Southern writers tried to take away what he had done, and they looked at his presidency and how it was scandal written, and it was scandal written. There's no doubt about that. But when it comes to Afro Americans, the guy was spot on. He did a lot, and there were times that in the very end, he chose his heart over. I'm sorry, he chose his brain over his heart, but he almost by himself, with military mindset, almost kicked out KKK. But again, when he left office and the Ruth B. Hayes issue, practicing in 1876, and how he won it because he promised the Southerners, if you elect me, I will take out all the Union soldiers. And because he did that, here comes Jim Crow, here come the colored laws. And, oh, sorry, back. What really got me is that the thought hit me, Dr. L, how stronger would American be if Reconstruction had continued? In other words, for Black Americans to go from slavery to elected officials by 1868, that speaks volumes.
mm,
To go from slavery, to go from being owned, and we have several Black legislators after slavery, that speaks to who we are as a people. But what if America had embraced us like they have embraced the Italians? Because the Italians were not first embraced. The Irish were not first embraced, right? But if they had, how much further this country would have been, just kind of sparks my intrigue like crazy. But yeah, we got to spend some more time with this guy. Uh, and he almost died poor. I did not know this. Almost died poor because his son and him got involved with a Ponzi scheme, unknown to him, and they lost everything. And he almost died poor. And it was Mark Twain that asked him to let me write your memoirs. And because he wrote his
Mhm.
memoirs, he was able before he died, and he finished the memoirs 3 days before he died.
Mm.
This guy was unbelievable. That he doesn't get the credit that he deserved because again, if it wasn't for him, the Union would not have won the South. He was the fifth or sixth general that Abraham Lincoln went through. But because of what he did, and him and Robert E. Lee finding meeting on the battlefield, and by God's grace, he won. He did a lot. He did a lot militarily, and he did a lot also when it comes to civil rights for Black Americans.
There is a. I thought this right. So there's a for anyone who has Netflix, there is a documentary, a
Yes, sir.
three-part
I re-
series on
that's
Netflix.
what got me going, sir. Very powerful. You got to take your time and go through it. You will be surprised what you see, sir. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't watch that one. I watched a couple of others. They're Netflix documentaries. So I'll definitely check that out because you said so. I'll check it out. So
Well,
yeah,
thank you, sir.
yeah.
I have blessed you. Now, if I can just bless you, come back to Kojak. My legacy will be sealed, sir.
Well, you keep praying that that'll happen. So you keep
Okay,
praying
I
about
will, sir.
that.
I will, sir. I will.
So yeah, so do you want to play some of the video you sent me, or you wanted to, or what do you?
Yeah. So the Klan War, which I did not know about this, and really shocked at myself. I did not know it. But again, like they said, if you want to hide something for Black Americans, just put it in a book. And I did not know anything about the Klan War and how Grant raised war against the Klan, and almost stamped it out. And that's why.
Hello, Sharon. It's nice to see you as well.
Sorry
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's all right.
Go ahead.
That's all right. Right. And that's why the Klan came back so strong. I mean, it is documented after 1876. That's when the Klan came back strong like crazy because they had been almost stamped out, and um, so he was using a lot of martial law to deal with the Klan, and he was able to take a lot of them out. But again, when he lost the 1876 election, that's when everything went back to normal. And because again, the South was very, of course, upset that they had lost the war, and then that's when they put their spin on, on the things that had happened at that time.
Only thing I disagree with in your statement was you said that they were upset. They still are upset. They still are. I'll never forget being in eighth grade and I had a
Okay.
history. My we were doing history,
Yes, sir.
and my history teacher at that time said these people these are the words that she's using. These people are still mad about the war. And she was a white history teacher who was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like just unbelievable. Just
Yeah.
unbelievable. These people are still upset about that.
Yeah.
So
It was I think called the lost cause. I think that's what they call it. I'd have to look at.
they still call it that, the lost cause. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. The lost cause of how they put a spin on the Civil War, and how it wasn't about slavery. It was really about our way of life, and they didn't like it, and X, Y, and Z. But again, there was an issue in the South that needed to be addressed, and Abraham Lincoln was not really into freeing the slaves, but it was like I had no choice, and even diving deeper, Dr. L. Afro American soldiers were pivotal in the Civil War and in World War One. I
Mm.
did not know until this year, and I'm ashamed to say this out loud, that when the black soldiers went over to fight in World War One, the American soldiers really didn't want us, so they gave us to the French. This blew my mind. They gave
Yeah,
us to the French.
the
Go
Leonard
ahead.
letter. The Leonard letter. You talking about Netflix documentary?
That
The
is
Leonard
correct,
letter.
sir. That's
Yeah.
correct, sir.
Somebody's
That's
been watching
correct.
some Netflix documentaries,
Man, I've been
huh?
in it, man. I've been, uh, but again, if it wasn't for the Afro American soldiers in the Civil War and Afro American soldiers in World War One, those are both uh, events, theater of events that we would still be under Southern mentalities, and the Germans would have won World War One, and how different that would have been. I mean, that it's amazing that you know, not that I'm trying to extend Juneteenth, but again, we have to look at history for what it is. And if it wasn't for the, I mean, even in the Revolutionary War, I mean, Afro Americans were involved. And what's the kicker is this: even after all those wars, they still came back and had discriminations. That's why in 1918 they had Red Summer, which is the same year that the World War One was done, and these Afro American soldiers have been, in France and having this point of freedom, and certain white people says, "Nah, we can't be having this. Nah, no, boy, you're back in America," and they caused a lot of riots and massacres in 1918, which we called Red Summer.
Right. So people can go up and type in for the Leonard about Albert Louis Albert Leonard.
Yes, sir.
He's French, and it was called the Leonard Letter. And people can go over there and check that out. You can download it and check it out. But I want to we can read a little bit from this. It's a little bit better on a different website here.
Go ahead, sir.
And so this is a letter that was given to French soldiers on the behalf of the United States government
On
about how
behalf.
on behalf of the United States government, and not some institutions. The United States government wanted the French to treat black soldiers a certain way because they didn't want them to become uppity Negroes when they get back. And as you mentioned, when they get back, they get lynched in their uniforms.
In the uniform, sir.
So the following directive was published without comment in the crisis to the French military mission stationed with American Army, August 7th, 1918, secret information concerning the Black American troops. It is important for French soldiers who have been called upon to exercise command over Black American troops or to live in close contact with them or to have an exact idea of the position occupied by Negroes in the United States. The information set forth in the following communication ought to be given to these officers, those are commanding officers, and it is to their interest to have these matters known and widely disseminated. It will devolve likewise on the French military authorities through the medium of the civil authorities to give information on this subject to the French population residing in cantonments occupied by American colored troops. Number one, the American attitude upon the Negro question may seem a matter for discussion to the French minds. But we French are not in our province if we undertake to discuss what some call prejudice. American opinion is unanimous on the color question. Well, I don't think it was unanimous. We weren't certainly agreeing with that. And it does not admit to any of the discussion. So in other words, the first point is this is what goes on in America. It's not our opinion don't matter. We're trying to get these boys over here to win. So and I'm not saying boys as in derogatory.
Yeah.
We're saying we're trying to get all these men we can have. And so if they want us to treat them a certain way, we'll treat them a certain way because we need these troops. The increasing number of Negroes in the United States, about 15 million at that time, would create for the white race, my computer's acting funny here, in the Republic, a menace of degeneracy, were it not that impassable gulf that has been made between them. Well, who made that impassable gulf?
Thank you very much.
They made that gulf. As this danger does not exist for the French race, the French public has become accustomed to treating the Negro with familiarity and indulgence. Treat them just like normal human beings. This indulgence and this familiarity, these are matters of grievance. My computer is going in and out here. A concern for the Americans. They consider them an affront to their national policy. Wow. Again, this was written on the behalf of the United States government. They are afraid that contact with the French troops will inspire Black Americans' aspirations, which to them, the whites, appear intolerable. Let me make this a little bit bigger here so everybody can read it here. It is of the utmost importance that every effort be made to avoid profoundly estranging American opinion. We need their help. Although a citizen of the United States, the Black man is regarded by the white American as an inferior being with whom relations of business or service are only possible. Nothing else, only business and service. That's all they wanted us for.
That's correct.
They don't want us for anything else. The black is constantly being censured for his want of intelligence and discretion, his lack of civic and professional conscience, and for his tendency toward undue familiarity. In other words, they don't want to talking to these white women, the white women. The vices of the Negro are a constant menace to the American who has to repress them sternly. For instance, the Black American troops in France have by themselves given rise to as many complaints for attempted sexual assault as the rest of the army. This is an important statement. Everybody's being accused of this, but we're gonna single out the blacks. And yet the Black American soldiers sent us have been the choicest with respect to physique and morals, for the number of disqualified at the time of mobilization was enormous. In other words, they sent them the best of the best, so they still wanted them to treat them a certain way. Conclusion: we must prevent the rise of pronounced degree of intimacy between French soldiers and black officers. We must be courteous and amiable with these last, but we cannot deal with them on the same plane as with the white Americans officers without deeply wounding the latter. We must not eat with the blacks, them must not shake hands or seek to talk or meet with them outside of the requirements in the military. And keep in mind, this was instituted by the United States. They wrote this letter.
Sir, we understand this again, it was a fear that they had that being respected, and what bigger respect can you give someone who will die for the cause? And yet, when they came back to America, no, don't get it twisted. Yeah, we use you, but get back to being under our feet. And that's something that America has to really come to um, point to. That's why all these documentaries are coming up, Dr. L. That's because the truth is finally coming to the surface. Now, will people believe it or not? I don't know. But the truth is the truth. And we have to, the truth will set you free. And if we can just as Americans say, you know what? Let's stop this. Let's stop saying, okay, we'll accept the Italians, we'll accept the Irish, and we'll accept everybody else, but we won't accept the blacks. We'll accept the Chinese. We'll even pay back the Japanese for internment camps. But what is it about Black America that they will not accept? And I, th- I think it's very direct. Is because when they look at Black America, they see the scar and the sin that brought us to America. And so for them to elevate us and for them to applaud history of us is them also, uh, you know, uh, putting a scarlet letter on what they have done. We are a constant reminder that, wait a minute, we didn't come to America freely. We came by force. And and again, if you look at America is a melting pot. But when it comes to Afro Americans, our melting pot is different because we were forced to come. That was the difference, that we were forced to come to this nation, while other ethnic people, they were here because they wanted to come to a better place.
So you asked a question, and you brought up a really, really good point. And so very recently, back in March or April or so, I had gone to the African American Museum. I don't know if I definitely talked about it in other places.
Always
I
want to
talked
go,
about this.
man. I gotta
Yeah,
go. I
you
gotta go.
definitely got to go. You definitely got to go. So there's a plaque, as you're walking around here, and I'm going to put this plaque up here. So this was a plaque that is there. It was so powerful to me that I had to I had to take a picture of it. And I even talked about it in the class because I was teaching a comparative history class. I'll take
Okay.
this down for a second. I was teaching a comparative criminal justice class. And whenever I teach criminal justice, I go all the way back. How do we start this, right? Why do our police systems start, and how do we get to this particular place? And of course, doing it comparatively, I look at how the French did theirs. So the two ones that I really, really focused on about history is about South Africa and about America. So I really dig into how these systems were formed. So you talk about the Civil War, we're talking about this. So here is the plaque that I took a picture of, right? It says competing economics and matters of race. Many Americans opposed slavery. White workers saw enslaved people as undercutting their pay with cheap labor. Farmers feared the competition from wealthy slave owners for land in agricultural markets. Other Americans thought slavery would inevitably lead to rebellion. Regardless of their stance, most white Americans did not want to be integrated with African Americans. Only a few believed that slavery denied human equality. So when people talk about, the North was against slavery, no, it was against competitive economics. So
Yeah.
not only were black folks, picking cotton, but they were also in the mines. Black folks were also,
Hmm.
blacksmiths, and they were very and carpenters and things like that. So this was who you going to hire, a black carpenter who you can pay less, or you're going to hire a white carpenter who got to pay more. So they didn't want that. So a lot of times, if you look at different territories that were created, I believe in Oregon, they wanted no blacks, and it wasn't solely because they didn't want, they didn't like black people, but a lot of it had to do with the fact that they didn't want to be competing with them as far
Yeah.
as economics,
Yeah.
right? So the last couple sentences really, really touched me. Only a few believe that slavery denied human equality. In 1853, Indiana Congressman George W. Julian remarked, "The American people are emphatically a Negro-hating people."
Wow.
That Indiana Congressman George W. Julian was an abolitionist who believed that black folks should be given every opportunity. And as he's having his debates with all the people in his district, and just trying to do what he's trying to do, he's like, you know, at the core, Americans, and this is 1853. He wrote this before the Civil War. We just some people that just don't like no Negroes.
Let me say two things. Number one, anyone who is non-black, please don't spread that we don't like non-blacks, because that's not true. We are two educated black men who like understanding our history, and not just our history, but our history is also American history. As a counselor, I always go back to people's past, their childhood. Their childhood can affect their adulthood. Well, there's a childhood of America,
Mm,
and I did not know this, Dr. L. So please forgive me. The Justice Department started in Reconstruction. That blew my mind. Are you telling me that the origin of the look it up? The origin of the Justice Department was dealing with how people were being taken advantage of, especially Afro Americans. It will blow your mind. I forgot the secretary, the first secretary of the Department of Justice, but it is mind blowing that the Department of Justice, which includes the FBI, and we don't want to talk about Mr. Hubert, but you know, it was because there was a point of justice not being taken into consideration. So it was again Mr. U.S. Grant, President U.S. Grant, who established the Department of Justice, the same Department of Justice that includes police, the same Department of Justice that includes all law enforcement. And the origin of it was, you know what, we got to do better when it comes to Americans that happen to be have a different hue than ours. Blew my mind, Dr. L. Blew my mind.
yeah, you sent me something. I'm trying to pull it up here. The enforcement.
Yeah, the enforcement acts again from again President U.S. Grant were acts to go against what was happening with the KKK. Now again, I'm ashamed. I'm in my fourth quarter. I know nothing about this at all of what Mr. Grant did. I'm sorry, President Grant did while he was in office. This is
Yeah,
amazing of how he used his military mindset, right, to deal with the terrorists, because that's how you look at as being terrorists, and he did it well.
yeah. I have to go through this. I did know a little bit of this.
I did not know
There's
that, sir.
Yeah, so listen, man, there's a lot of history that we just don't know. There's a lady I listened to. Her name is Heather Cox Richardson. I
Okay.
really highly suggest people check out her channel and subscribe to her. She is just a wheelhouse of all types of history, and she when she's talking, she gives her talks, they're about 45, 50 minutes, and she talks about, she calls her rabbit holes. She's like, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, and people have to write her, go down the rabbit holes, because we want to know, right? So
Yeah.
one day she's talking about something, like, and she's like, and she's like, oh, this is a rabbit hole, but how we know these things that we know is because the mice would get into a lot of things were destroyed. A lot of things were destroyed. People's journals. The reason that history is so difficult is because you got to go back to the newspapers, journals, and letters that people wrote. That's how you know history, right? That's a major component to how people know things. And so what happened was a lot of things would be destroyed. However, mice would go in there, take their take pages from books, take letters, put it into their own bedding, and then that's how it was preserved versus people, shredding documents, destroying things. So a lot of
Are
times,
you serious?
we wouldn't know these things had it not been for the mice going out and preserving all these different documents. So so that's a really, really big tidbit of information to know about how we preserve a lot, because we think it's just preserved. But you talk about these histories, people don't want them to know. Had it not been for the mice, in certain circumstances, we would not know a lot of things.
The problem with history is that if you don't get it right, you will repeat it. That's very it's very cyclical, you know.
Mm,
And again, in America, we have to, have these conversations out loud with black and white, to say, you know what, there are things that were done wrong, yes, in the past, but again, if you don't reconcile the past, you will repeat them in your present and your future. There's no doubt about that. I see that with counselees. I see them on my own personal life. If you do not reconcile what happened to you as a child, and again, I think in 2 weeks, America will be 250 years old. Okay, 250 years old. But there are things that when you don't reconcile the childhood, you play them out in the past. So why are we surprised of we still see the racism and still see the negativity in our country? Because it was never reconciled in our childhood. And if you don't talk about it, if you don't heal from it in your childhood, you will perpetuate that again and again and again. I mean, for a man to get on national TV and call a woman who's birthed two children and say out loud and disrespect that woman and
mm,
say Michelle Obama is a man.
mm.
As I heard one person says, a true gentleman doesn't go after a woman. But again, because of the training in America to dislike or to be afraid of Afro Americans, it's true. Now, again, people, I'm not saying, and Dr. L's not saying, well, you know what? I'll let Dr. L talk for himself. I'm not saying every Afro American is good, because I'm right. There's some people that got some issues, and sometimes they'll use their race to get away with something. I'm not saying that at all, but we have to use the words of Dr. King. Let's judge a man not on his color, but on his character.
Did you see? We talked about erasing history and all that. Did you see the Vice President J.D. Vance on The View?
I heard
And he
about it, I
was,
didn't see it. What happened?
yeah, he was embarrassed. Well, he wasn't embarrassed by himself, but it was embarrassing because they were calling him out on exactly what we're talking about, the deliberate attempts to erase history. I did actually an episode about it. We can watch it if you want. But
Sure.
yeah, it wasn't very
Sure.
long.
Let's watch the people. Please get your popcorn and soda, and let's watch Dr. L in action.
No,
When I'm
not
not
me. I'm not going to show
around.
me. I'm not going to. We're not going to show me. I want to show. I want to show the clip of The View, because I want you to see it for yourself without my commentary, and I want everybody. You can go over to my other channel, Dr. L's Breakdown, and
I
watch
knew that
that.
was. I knew that was coming.
I got to get this book here, Clan War. This looks interesting here. Let
Uh,
me see.
you know what, Dr. L. maybe a year from now we can write a book together about Reconstruction, because I think our people need to know about how pivotal that time was between the Emancipation Proclamation and between 1876, Ruther B. Hayes. It was pivotal of how we feel things are today. I mean, again, if America had embraced us and said, you know what, we're wrong, what we did, despicable, let's fix it, what a different nation we would have today.
Let me get this here. I definitely agree with you. And listen, there's a brother. I'd like to be able to. I always try to give credit where credit is due. So there's a brother, and he talks.
For
He said
29 seasons.
he said that America gets America has the black people that it deserves. Meaning, when you have engaged, when this country has engaged in redlining, Jim Crow, denial of access to different loans in order to build up their people, the Homestead Act, GI bills. There's a book, I think I have it here. It's called when affirmative action was white. In other words, all the different things that it might be downstairs. Anyway, so the name of the book is When Affirmative Action Was White, and it talks about all the different things that white people got. This whole idea, pick yourself up by your bootstraps on. No. They were getting government loans. Black people wouldn't. They were, if you wanted to buy a house, you couldn't get loans. If you wanted to sell your house as a black person, you would get less money. That's still happening today. All these different types of things that people got. And so this is where the problem comes in at. So I want to fast forward here a little bit. Here we're going to get to J.D. Vance and their questions to him about the attempted erasure of Black history, culture, etc.
Yes, Mr. Vice President, thank you for being with us. Now, you came into office with clear momentum, but when I talk to my friends and family who supported you and the president and still support you and the president, one issue comes up time and time again, and it's the economy. Inflation's up, wages.
I want to get to this good stuff.
I think that we're making progress, but ultimately, we're going to make our pitch to the voters in November, and they're the ones who get to decide whether we've done a good job or not, and that's how they're going to vote.
Okay. So President Trump has called affordability a hoax. He said that, not me.
But the president knows that a lot of Americans are struggling. In fact, he ran on that. He talked about $4.06 a gallon, too high.
Okay.
Those jobs are increasing at a large number. Construction, way too high right now. Certain things, way too high.
Strategy meetings taking place inside the Situation Room. We understand that there are tapes of those meetings, that this was a huge problem for the base. The reports
thing that you read in any newspaper, whether it's a right-leaning paper or a left-leaning, I think that it's crazy that you had this guy who is clearly a sex predator. The Epstein Files Transparency Act.
And like Lauren Boebert, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, did not give in to his pressure of not signing. He brought Lauren Boebert in.
They tell the fact that they knew each other in the 80s.
Oh, this is the wrong video here. I apologize. This is the wrong video here. This was about their economy. I don't want to talk about the economy. Let me see here. I played it. This has got to be it. Black history not being erased. This is it.
You come from a poor community.
Sure.
You know how hard it has been for people. Two things. You talk a lot about your Catholic faith, but the Catholic faith says we take in immigrants. We take in people.
I want to fast forward this too. She's talking about immigrants. I want to get to the black folks.
Politics. I kind of have to write about politics because I'm the vice president, but I want to answer your question.
Right.
So fundamentally, if you think about what is immigration enforcement, immigration is arrest somebody for committing to enforce your borders. That means the law enforcement piece. That we don't strike the right balance. I disagree with you about how we apply that, but nobody hopefully is saying says you're not allowed to deport anyone unless they've committed violent crime. You've got to enforce the law equally.
So let me do my follow-up.
You don't have to
let
raise your
me do
hand,
my follow-up.
Yes, I do.
Because you were talking about people. What did Black people do to this administration that has allowed it to really stigmatize folks of color? And you know how hard it is. You have folks of color in your family.
Sure.
So when you see, things, the Emmett Till stuff coming down, or them doing all kinds of removal of information of Black heroes, how does that sit with you?
Well, what exactly are you talking about, Whoopi? Because you just
I'm talking about
Emmett Till was
I can tell you all this. Yeah.
No, you could hear the audience moan. Like, how come you don't know what's going on? I'm going to play that. Just listen to the audience moan there. Like you're playing games here.
How does that sit with you?
Well, what exactly are you talking about, Whoopi? Because you just,
I'm talking
I know
about
Emmett Till was, Emmett Till was
tell
a
you all
kid.
this, yeah.
No, I want to know what
you,
she's,
you don't know
I
what
want to
I'm
respond
talking
to your
about.
actual point.
So in a lot of the museums,
Like
there's so many. You know, where they're taking.
Now, I gotta say, Whoopi should have had a better answer. If you're gonna bring up this stuff, you got to be able to bring it up. So on my show, I ended up bringing up the receipts about what she's talking about, but she should have been better prepared.
Down the actual history that happened in this country. Slavery happened. All kinds of stuff happened. And it seems that it has been very easy for this administration to remove that and also to denigrate Black folks who have worked their behinds off to get this American dream. How do you, I mean, you know better.
So Sonny, that was actually a very helpful intervention, because I think the story you're talking about is where, you know, allegedly the administration is holding back the appointments of people based on skin color. Right?
I'm talking about a host of things. I'm talking about Black history getting erased from public spaces. Black voter districts are being dismantled. Black leaders are being sidelined from our ranks. Where do Americans of color fit in this vision? Because it doesn't seem like we fit.
I think, Sonny, my view.
And if I may, since October of last year, there's been something like 6,668 refugees allowed into the country. All but 3 were white South Africans.
So first of all, I'm very skeptical of that number, because we have a lot of different immigration pathways in the United States of America. But let me just address Whoopi's point. Look, first of all, you asked the question, and maybe you don't believe this coming from me, but I think everybody is welcome in our political coalition. Frankly, even if you didn't vote for us, everybody is welcome in our country, so long as you're an American citizen with the duties and the legal obligations and rights to be here. But Whoopi, let me just give you an example of this. Okay, so you say that we're anti-minority or anti-Black.
No, I didn't say that. I asked. See?
Well, okay, fine. Fair.
Don't start any stuff with me, man. Don't get me in trouble. Don't start no stuff with me. But
I misinterpreted your question, but let me answer your actual question. What I'm saying, I think, okay, look at Washington, D.C. One of the most democratic and one of the blackest, by a share of population, blackest cities in the United States of America, has seen a radical decrease in violent crimes and sexual assaults and in murders.
This bothered me so much, and they're going to comment on this. The question is about.
You didn't answer the question.
But the question was about you know, the administration tearing down or taking down different information, and he goes right to crime. There's a connection there between Black folks and crime, and that's what he was making right there, in my estimation. This is what he's making, and I just thought that was so crazy. They're going to call him out on this, which I appreciate.
We have tried to take the crime issue seriously, in part because we believe everybody, whether you're Black or white or rich or poor, deserves to live in a safe neighborhood.
Why does the crime? Where does the crime step in? This is not about crime. This is about
lost their jobs.
Right. This is about
Sonny,
rights.
What you're saying is we got to do more on the economy.
Black history has been erased from public spaces.
Black history is not erased from public spaces.
Guys, we do have to get to Iran when we get back. Some very important news.
I'm telling you, we celebrate Black history. We celebrate all American history in this administration. You guys might be skeptical of this, but I promise you it's true.
So that's
all right. I mean, the point is, you're not going to. Okay, so here's how I look at it. If you see the facts, let's state what the facts are. Let's start hiding from the facts. If it's black, it's black. If it's white, it's white. If it's gray, it's gray. And the problem that I have, and I have this new mantra. And again, thanks for having me, sir. I only got 2 minutes left here, but thanks for having me, sir, on your show, a 60-40 deal. Amen. When you know better, you do better. That should be the cry of America. When you know better, let's do better. Because when you know better and you still do the same, Black, white, racism, whatever it is, then that really speaks to how you really don't want to take yourself further. When you know better, do better. That should be the cry of everybody.
Here's the problem I have with that. They don't know any better. They don't think that there is a negativity that goes along with this. They just don't believe that. They just believe, as I said before, that's why I put the plaque up. That's why I talk about it. Fundamentally, you talk about the childhood of America. And I think that was very, very well put. From its inception, it has been a Negro hating people. It has been an anti-native population. Genocide the natives, enslave the Black folks, tell the people that they're inferior. And listen, they told the Italians that they were inferior. They told the
They
Irish
did.
that they were in,
They
and
did.
they also told the Irish that they were inferior. We
They
often
did.
talk about the lynchings. They lynched those people too. They lynched Irish and Italians and some Jewish people as well.
Columbus Day was created because of what they did in New Orleans and how they lynched a lot of Italian Americans. That's correct, sir. History.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
No, thank you. Appreciate you.
I love our talks, man. We gotta keep doing this, man. I love it.
All right, brother. I know that you're pressed for time, man. So thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man.
All right. I'm gonna stick around. I just want to wrap up a little bit. I'll see you later. All right.
God bless you, man.
Okay. Take care.
Bye-bye.
So I wanted to just say that I appreciate Dr. B coming on, and you can go over to my channel. Make sure that you check out the rest. I did a more detailed breakdown about what I think that Whoopi was trying to say, and I brought some receipts. How they tried to take some information out of Philadelphia. They tried to take some information out of the Netherlands about Black war heroes. And about slavery and different things like that, and different museums that were changed. So I wanted to address those types of things. So just go over there, check those out. Make sure you hit the like button on this video, subscribe, share, all that kind of good stuff. We will see you again. If you have a show, a topic, or idea that you want us to talk about, there's been so many things that we have not been able to get on to talk about, but you can always send us an email. Where's our email here? Where's our email here? Well, you can always hit us there. Where's our email? Where's our email address? I know it's on here somewhere. Faith and Justice. Have a show topic, Big L. Venmo. Where's my email? I guess it's on here somewhere. Oh, here it is. Jeez. Faith and Justice Podcast. All right. So that's where you can hit us at, Faith and Justice Podcast. So appreciate you guys. Again, if there's anything else you want us to talk about, make sure you hit us up. We're growing slowly, but just make sure you hit the like button again. Much love and peace, everyone. Take care.